The Dallas Mavericks told everyone they had a plan. They said the chaos was temporary. They said the pain would be worth it. And then they traded Anthony Davis. Again. Not for a superstar. Not for a franchise reset that made sense. But for a collection of contracts, role players, and picks that somehow made the entire situation look even darker. Because this wasn't just a bad trade. It was the moment people realized Dallas didn't know how to undo the damage they already caused. And the most shocking part? D'Angelo Russell was supposed to help stabilize things. Instead, he became another name tossed into the fire. This story doesn't start with Anthony Davis. It starts with a decision that changed everything. Dallas once had a generational centerpiece, the kind of player franchises spend decades searching for. A player you build around, protect, and never let go. And yet somehow, the Mavericks convinced themselves they could shortcut the process. They traded that future away for Anthony Davis, betting that star power alone could save them. But the moment that deal went through, the clock started ticking. Davis arrived with expectations he was never realistically going to meet. Not because he isn't talented, but because the roster around him wasn't ready, and the timeline never aligned. Every injury setback, every missed stretch of games, every awkward fit made the trade feel heavier. And by the time Dallas admitted it wasn't working, the damage was already done. Which leads to the next mistake. D'Angelo Russell was brought in as a solution. A secondary scorer, a calming presence, a bridge between chaos and structure. On paper, it looked reasonable. In reality, it never clicked. Russell's game requires rhythm, freedom, and spacing. Three things Dallas didn't consistently provide. His production fluctuated, his role shifted constantly, and instead of becoming a core piece, he became expendable almost immediately. That's when alarm bells should have gone off. When a team trades a player that quickly after acquiring him, it usually means one thing: they didn't have a real plan to begin with. And instead of reassessing, Dallas doubled down. When the details finally came out, the reaction was immediate. Anthony Davis gone. D'Angelo Russell gone. And what came back didn't match the price at all. Dallas received a mix of aging veterans, rotational players, and draft picks that, realistically, won't land anywhere near the top of the board. No young star, no cornerstone piece, no clear direction. This wasn't a win-now trade, and it definitely wasn't a clean rebuild. It sat awkwardly in the middle, the worst place a franchise can be. Fans expected clarity. What they got was confusion. Supporters of the trade keep pointing to the picks. But here's the problem. Late first-round picks don't replace elite talent. They don't fix years of poor asset management. And they don't erase the opportunity cost of losing franchise players. Draft picks are valuable when they're paired with vision. Dallas has been using them like bandages, temporary relief for deeper wounds. And when you trade a player like Anthony Davis, even with injury concerns, the return is supposed to hurt less than this. Instead, it confirms something fans were already afraid of. The Mavericks were trading from a position of weakness. The front office sold this deal as flexibility, cap space, room to maneuver, a fresh start. But flexibility without direction is just delay. Clearing the books doesn't matter if you don't have elite talent to build around. And Dallas just moved two of their most recognizable names without securing a replacement that moves the needle. This wasn't a reset, it was a retreat. The kind teams make when they realize they're lost, but aren't ready to admit it. Around the league, the response was quiet, and that was the loudest part. No shock, no envy, no fear. Analysts didn't debate whether Dallas won the trade. They debated how much worse it made their future. Fans didn't argue over fit. They argued over how the franchise let things spiral this far. And when neutral observers stop giving you the benefit of the doubt, that's when perception becomes reality. Dallas wasn't seen as unlucky anymore. They were seen as careless. This trade didn't fail on its own. It failed because it was part of a pattern. A pattern of reacting instead of planning, of chasing fixes instead of building foundations, of confusing movement with progress. Anthony Davis wasn't the solution, but trading him like this wasn't the answer either. D'Angelo Russell wasn't the problem, but using him as a throw-in exposed how little leverage Dallas had left. Every move since the original blockbuster has felt like damage control, and damage control never builds contenders. Now the Mavericks are left with questions no trade can instantly fix. Who is the franchise built around? What is the timeline? And how much trust is left between the front office and the fan base? The hope is that young talent and future picks can eventually stabilize things, but hope isn't a strategy, and patience wears thin when mistakes stack up. This trade was supposed to close a chapter. Instead, it reopened the wound. Because when you look at everything Dallas gave up and everything they got back, the hardest truth to accept is this: the Mavericks didn't lose this trade in isolation. They lost it years ago, and this was just the moment everyone finally saw it.